Hi, Chris.
Morning, Sonia. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good. How's the air over on the coast?
It's actually nice. It's a little cooler today. So
We've got quite a bit of smoke here. Hi, Leslie.
Good morning.
yeah, it's not too bad here. The sky was really red, so I think there is smoke, but
Yeah, well, that's coming right over the top of the hill probably. And good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Hi, Merlin.
Good morning.
There you are.
Good to see you.
Let's see.
You guys got smoke too up north?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just woke up to it this morning again.
Yep. Same here. It's 91 or something like that here in
Where?
Cottage Grove.
Wow.
But in Eugene, it's up over 200, I think. So it's probably going to come down here. I have inside stuff to do all day, and we have an air purifier. So we're just going to keep that baby running and stay inside as much as possible.
Yeah.
Morning, Bruce.
Good morning. Another beautiful morning in Oregon as it is.
Yeah, and I haven't seen you since, a Zoom meeting last night. Actually,
Yeah,
yesterday.
that 2.5 hours of, I think we actually, technically we went to 3 meetings in 2.5 hours. So
I know.
we should get credit for that.
That's right. I think that counts as makeups.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause we're low on our hours.
Yeah, we hardly put any hours in.
But actually, I think I'm going to go see Sonia here Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's your warning, Sonia. I'm heading your way.
oh, okay.
Oh, here, hold on. Your way.
you know, we're not meeting at the Elks Club like we normally do.
That would be very valuable information for
Yeah,
each
Where
this
are you?
Thursday, because Jim Polk's going to be visiting, we're going to be at the local ocean from 11:30 to 12:30.
Whoa.
Elks Club
The-
at 12.
Hold on, the local ocean.
That's
Local
down on the
ocean.
bayfront. Fabulous. You're lucky, Bruce.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are you
but
gonna
they're
move
actually
down
just
there if
serving
I
the
come over and
sliders.
visit?
I'll Google it.
Yeah, they're just doing sliders for us, which I'm not sure why we're going to local ocean for sliders, but that's all right.
They'll probably be really good sliders.
They probably will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you told me that, so I could warn you not to show up at the Elks at noon.
Yeah,
So it's locked. What's the problem?
Yeah.
yeah. It won't be the
Okay.
first time that I've had a meeting moved just to get away from me.
They see you coming and then they run.
I get a conflict. Well, no, I was talking to Dan at Philomath, and he's setting up a membership booth at the farmers market. And so I said, well, I'll meet you at the meeting and we'll go over this and Fred and everything else. So I walk into the meeting at about 12:45, and they had a board meeting. They weren't having any meeting that day. They had a board meeting from 11 to noon, and they were wrapping up. And I looked at Dan, I said, you could have told me. Luckily, I said, I'm getting a complex. And he goes, yeah, I should have said something, but
You're lucky you didn't get voluntold to do something.
well, exactly. But Aaron Haynes from the Corvallis Club comes walking in behind me going, what the heck are you guys doing moving the meeting without telling me? So I didn't feel alone. And
Hi, Dave.
Oh. I just heard the name Aaron Haynes.
yes,
That was one of my late partner's best friends.
he is an amazing man from a Rotarian standpoint. Can't talk him into becoming an AG. He is a one-man membership drive. He's just come up with ideas. He visits the clubs like you wouldn't believe. He is an amazing guy, but he does it on his terms. And so,
Sounds like my David. I think they
Yeah.
were the same.
but you can't he's a kindred spirit. You can't spend 10 minutes with him without just,
Feeling that connection.
being amazed with the stuff that he comes up with.
Oh, here comes our California representative. I'm going to give it until about 4 minutes after, in
Good
case
morning,
you're wondering
Coach
what
Reese.
I'm doing, Leslie.
Hey, Bruce. how are
Leslie,
you?
do you go by Lee or Leslie? I love the name Leslie with that Z in
I
it.
know, I do too, but when I was little, I became Lee, so I've used that a lot, but then I moved it back. Either one. Use the
Okay.
one you like the best.
That's kind of the way I am with Chris or Christine. It just
Uh-huh.
depends on what crowd I'm running with, and they call me
Mm.
something different.
Mhm.
Just as long as it's one of those two things. Right?
Yeah,
Not, hey, you creep. I gotta see.
yeah, not something, right. I wonder if while we're waiting, can we do a quick try on the share screen? A couple of weeks ago, I was doing an international meeting and I could not find what I was supposed to be showing. And
Okay.
that would be a disaster.
All right. You are a co-host. And that should do it. You should be able to see the share
I've got it.
screen.
It's fine, because it just came
See?
up. Yep, good.
Here comes, we have some dignitaries coming, you guys.
Would you
Can
like
you
me
not,
to?
can you not share it until we're ready for you?
Right, let's see, where does it
Oh,
say?
you just want to make
stop?
sure.
It's just saying admit. Oh dear, just a second here.
Yeah, see, I made you the co-host and now
Right,
you
and my whole
work to
thing went,
do.
right, my share screen went away. Oh, and now I've lost everybody. Oh, lovely.
You're in listen.
Why don't you take me off and then just put me back on? I think that
When
might
it's time, okay.
yeah, that might work better.
All right, that was a short term.
There
Your
we
hosting
go.
privileges
Promotion.
have been revoked. Actually,
here
Chris, while I'm thinking about it, I was talking to Jim about that link this morning because I went in under different credentials and it signed me right up, registered me immediately.
Somebody else said that they did too. I think it was Joe. So
Right. So he's going to check it out. I talked to him this morning, but he was going to play with it. But we are working on it. But I can't get it not to work for me. So we're, it's
well, maybe we have some guinea pigs in the room here that can help you out. Raymond just showed up.
well, I've signed up
Hey.
code. I signed up Bruce Reese, whether he likes it or not. So he's going to be there. He just doesn't know it yet. So he's on board.
Greatly appreciated, Bruce. Thank you.
Okay.
It comes with a cup of coffee and a donut. So you're in, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting with a few preliminary announcements, and then we're going to get into our topic today, which I'm really excited to have Lee or Leslie from Sun River Lapine Club join us. I'm Chris Waugh, District Governor nominee, but no longer district membership chair. I got fired. Can you believe that? It was bound to happen someday. Bruce Allen is now the district membership chair, effective last. Oh, look at Angela's laughing her head off. Oh, and I'm here to support him. I'm here to support you. You won't see much difference in the forums, I don't think, in the short run, unless Bruce boots me out of that job too. But we have something else coming up, but I want to first introduce Angela Lopez. Are you going to show us your picture?
My camera is turned off. Sorry, I kind of have like a swollen face right now. But
well,
nice
she's
to meet
really
you.
good looking and very friendly, always has a smile on her face. Angela is our regional membership coordinator. And anytime you used to be the regional coordinators for membership were these, 30,000 foot type view people that didn't really work one-on-one with the clubs. Sonia, Jerry, Ray, any of you guys, you need some specific questions answered, Angela's just a phone call away. And Angela, if you would put your contact information in the chat, I think it's angela.lopez@rotary.org, but reach out to her. She's, she can answer things succinctly or give you a flood of information, whatever you're looking for. So thanks for being here, Angela.
Of course.
The third thing I want to talk about quickly is October 28th. Please put that on your calendar. It is going to be a Saturday morning from 9 to 11, no longer. We are going to have membership in a box. And it's a program that we stole from the zone 26-27 that has been really well attended, like 400 people signed up for it at this last one. But it's going to tell you, it's going to give you some tools. We're going to share some ideas, much like we do in these forums where you share ideas for how do you attract members. And we're going to have another breakout about how do you onboard your members. And a third breakout is going to be how do you retain and engage your members during that 2-hour session. Then we're going to show you, and you'll each have ahead of time, a 1-page 5-year summary of how your attraction has been and how your attrition's been. And a lot of membership directors and presidents kind of look at the attraction part, how much you want to grow by, but we forget to look at the attrition part. Like Bruce says, you're looking at what's coming in the front door, but you forget to look at who's leaving out the back door. And what we want is a net gain. If that's the goal, then we have to take attrition into account. And during that event, we'll be looking at those figures for each individual club. You will be, and then you'll be able to set some goals. Okay, I need to do this if I'm going to lose that, based on your history. And then your assistant governors will help you through a very simple but organized strategic plan. So 2 or 3 bullet points of how you're going to do each one of those. So it's going to go really fast, but it should be very inspiring and all-encompassing. You're one of the first groups to hear about it. It's October 28th. We want to have somebody from every club there, whether it's the president, membership chair, or anybody interested in membership that can get a really firm grip and willing to share ideas with the rest of the group. So is that virtual or live? It's virtually live.
You can, and you can have more than one. You're not limited to only one person from each club.
That's the nice thing about virtual.
That's it. Anybody with an active interest in Rotary is more than invited. My goal to Jim Polk is I think my license on Zoom is for 100 participants, and I would love to turn in a voucher charging him for 500 participants. So
I'm sorry, I had to go tell someone not to make noise during my presentation. So I had to run outside and say, don't mow the lawn right now, please. Because it's right in front of where I'm sitting. So I'm very sorry. Where is this taking place?
It will be on Zoom. The main
Right.
thing I want you to know right now is to pencil in October 28th, which is a Saturday from 9 to 11.
9 to 11.
And
Okay,
be there or be square kind of thing.
sounds great.
though I
Okay,
was,
And more information will be coming. Sorry, Bruce.
okay.
and Angela, well, no, 2 things I was going to say is, first of all, and Angela Lopez is actually going to be a speaker at that. She doesn't know yet.
Oh, she's great.
She's going to be our guest speaker. No.
She's laughing again.
The last meeting that the zone had started at 8, and that actually, which I thought nobody's going to do it, and it had 300 participants, 100 and 200, and a lot, enough that it was amazing the interest. So, and it got out earlier, and it got out at 10:45, and so it was nice to have more of your Saturdays. So I would like to stay open to an earlier start time if somebody wants to. If not, gives you a chance to wake up, eat Fruit Loops, pet the dog, make sure that, and turn on your computer and be ready at 9 to pay
Okay.
attention, because this is.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. And here we are at 10:10 already. Time flies. I want to get into our program. Last month at our July forum, Lee Haroun, is it Haroun? Did I say that right? Was a first-time participant, and she's a brand new membership chair. And she happened to mention that she just got a big article written up in her local newspaper about the goings-on of her Rotary Club. And I went, oh, really? I wonder if anybody else would be interested in how you do that. And then as I poke around and look a little bit more about her, she's had a lot of articles written in the newspaper. She's a writer and an educator. So what better person to talk to us about how to get our information published both in local print, and probably it applies to social media, I would guess. But we're going to be talking about promoting our clubs, not just to the outside world, but to our own members. We want them to see this and be proud. So with that, Leslie, I am going to turn it over to you to be a, there you are. Oh man, people keep moving around on me. Make a co-host. Okay. You should be one.
Host disabled participant screen sharing is what I just got. So what did you do a few minutes ago that worked? On my screen, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Well, let's fix that. I'm going to make you the host. Then.
These electronics.
I'm just going to make you the host and then
Okay, here we go.
if you see somebody that needs admitted, admit them.
Okay, will
Because
do.
I can't do that now.
Yes, I understand.
Oh
We'll hope
boy.
it pops up on my screen. Okay, so I forgot what we were going to call it. So I'm calling it reaching out with writing, making connections with people. And so the first thing is who wants to print what you write? So some of the ideas are newspapers. I actually write an article every month. And we have a local paper called the Sun River Scene. And I connected with our editor and am on the list now of regulars, so I can write an article every month. We have a great paper. If you have local papers, we keep it local here because in Sun River, well, I think there are 4 clubs in Bend.
Mhm.
So I so far have not done a lot with the major Bend newspaper. And a lot of people have canceled their major newspapers, so we have that challenge. But the local paper is mailed to every resident and put in stacks and stacks around Sun River every month. So I know it's going to be out there. In those newspapers, of course, you can write articles. You can do press releases, which are good with the major papers because they're usually free. Or if it's a really big deal, like the Sun River Women's Club Art Fair that I'm also heavily involved with, we actually pay for an ad just before the art fair comes up. So if you have a major fundraiser, it might be worth a few $100s to go ahead and put an ad, a big splash ad, maybe half a page, advertising your big event. Newsletters, if you have a newsletter to members, that would be a nice, I think, retention tool. Because you can acknowledge people, let them know what's going on, how they can be involved, and so on. Oops, somehow I need to. I have you folks, and you're kind of taking up part of the screen. Now, how do I?
You can move that. There's a tab at the top where you
I
can move it.
see, there's this tab. There you go, bye-bye. Okay. So, and then online announcements. I don't do those myself. However, our very local Chamber of Commerce has a weekly what's going on in Sun River piece or announcement, and you can put things there. So those are just some ideas of places you can put those. Unfortunately, the little Lapine newspaper, they had a really nice one. They stopped publishing that a few years ago. And then they had another little guy that was mostly ads, but you could put articles. And it's folded because the people moved back to the valley. So sometimes you really have to do a little research and look around and see what's available in your area. So the content, what kinds of things can you write about? Well, lots of things. Your event announcements, your fundraisers with invitations and so on, where your grant money is going, we just announced this month's article was about the 11 Lapine graduates who received scholarships from our Rotary Club. with some information about each. If you can sneak in acknowledgement of your club members, there's something about retention. And then the global reach of Rotary, not just local things, but one article I did was about just how big. I mean, Rotary just isn't this little club that people get together for breakfast. As even before I was in charge of or co-chair of membership here, I would hear things like, oh yeah, don't you have to be in business? You have to have a business, don't you? Don't you guys just get together and have breakfast? No, way more than that. So one of the articles I wrote was about what Rotary does globally, and I got some good ideas from our wonderful Rotary magazine. I do use that for ideas sometimes.
Mhm.
So how do you make the article interesting? Well, we talked about stories last week or last month, right, Chris? It was about telling a story.
Yeah.
That's third there. Set the scene, write a good introduction, something that will attract people to read your article. Relate to the current season. And I have examples of these in a couple minutes. You can include photos that will draw attention and a lot of the local newspapers like photos. And then you can include quotes, both from your members and from people in the community to make it more personal. I got that idea from reading, regular newspapers and how that is often pulled in to make things more interesting. There was one more thing, and I, of course, forgot it as I kept talking, but I will think of it in a minute. Another idea for making your story interesting. So the first one, does this set the scene? On May 21st, the Sun River La Pine Rotary Club held its annual fundraiser at the Great Hall. Dinner was served along with blah, blah, blah. We raised more than $50,000, which will be used for grants. Thank you to our sponsors and guests. Okay, well, that's okay. That's a nice little announcement. And those are all facts. That's exactly what we did on May 31st this year. But I wanted to make it, I thought, a little more interesting. So this is how I wrote it up instead of, and this is just the first part of this article. It was quite a bit longer, but fresh flower leis flown in from Hawaii, strolling ukulele players, along with flowered shirts and dresses. I wanted to really highlight how this was a very fun event, and we did very well. I think we earned more at this one than last year. So we had 135 guests. So then I got to the facts after I set the scene in a way that I thought might make it more interesting and have people look at it and go, oh, what's this about? Flower leis from Hawaii, what? So that's one way that you can make it a little more interesting. I don't know. Do you think that made it more interesting? Maybe.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Another example was the local Rotary Club elected new officers in July, and Aaron will replace Megan. Okay. Well, and it would have said more, but maybe that would be the introduction. But I tried to, the setting, Mary McCallum Park, which is a beautiful owners only park, excuse me, on the Deschutes River here. So that would mean something to people living here. They can visualize that. Oh yeah, that gorgeous park we have warm weather. Couldn't have been better for our annual picnic. Oh, they do a picnic to announce their officers. Oh, that's cool. And then I do mention that Megan served as president and who was going to take over. And like I said, this is just the introduction to a longer article. Oh, that's what I wanted to say, making it interesting. My articles are usually not more than 500 words. Occasionally they're more when I list the scholarship winners or talk about the annual fundraiser, but I try not to put too much padding. I mean, you might consider the setting padding, setting the scene, but I don't, it's really not, but not a lot of extraneous detail because these little newspapers, ours is like 40 pages long and it's full of interesting articles. And so if somebody, I'm afraid if people see it's too long, they won't read to the end. And it's at the end where I put the little punchline about, you really should think about joining Rotary. Well, I'm not quite that direct, but I put a little something in, and I have an example of that as we move along here. Photos are great. This was a really fun photo. This was from our fundraiser. And so, and they printed this very big, they sometimes they don't, but in this particular case, I think they thought this was so fun. They printed a very large photo of this in the paper along with the article about the fundraiser. As you saw before, it was a tropical theme. And so the local Sun River Stars amateur theater group got costumes and did a Gilligan's Island. And they were at the fair running around, making it fun. The fair, sorry, not the fair. It was I'm thinking of the music festival fair at our fundraising dinner. And so they drew attention. And again, this really let the community know we didn't just ask you for money. We made it fun. It was a fun event. And at the end of this one, I think I put, this was such a fun event. Please consider coming, attending next year. It's an annual. And then when, with Aaron, new president, Megan, just the past president, someone took this lovely photo. So that was also included. Lots of people know them. So that was kind of important. Megan is the executive director of the Sun River Music Festival, which is a huge deal here. And Aaron is the manager of the bank here in Sun River. So they are known. And I thought by putting their photo, it honored them and thanked them for their volunteering. Plus, it brought it home to the community. Oh yeah, we know these people. Oh, they're in Rotary. Very cool.
Cool.
Oh, and if there's any questions or you want to comment, please do so. I put from the files, I wrote a little article about the Gift of Literacy program. We're all involved in that, are we not? Are there other Rotary clubs doing that? Giving books to young children? Oh, maybe not. Well,
we do
Yes,
one,
we
but
do.
it's not the Gift of Literacy, but
okay.
we work with Head Start kids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, so because we were involved with them, we pulled this from, like I said, from the files. In fact, I think the editor of the newspaper even helped me find this so that we could illustrate. And again, it's very cute. It draws attention. And oh, what's Rotary doing about that? And I think I had one more. Oh, this was when I wrote the article about Rotary isn't just a local club. In fact, what makes Rotary unique, and I wanted to point this out, is that, yeah, we have lots of fundraising in Sun River. We have a very nice community here. And just south of us, we have a lot of people really struggling. And that's where our money goes, to help people, not with all sorts of organizations south of Sun River and in the Lapine and outlying areas. However, I wanted, excuse me, I wanted people to know how international Rotary is. We don't just work locally. And we were able to find, one of the things I mentioned was, I listed a group of facts that I took from the Rotary website, international website, and about how many people are illiterate in the world, how many people don't have clean water, how many people still get malaria, and so on. Oh, and I also write about Polio Plus, so people know about that. And this was, I thought, a lovely photo of a young girl able to enjoy clean water. Because we're a small community, but a very active community, I try to make this not dry, more address the audience from me personally, as I put here, taking over the top leadership from Megan is Aaron, who, as I'm sure many of you know, is the manager of Sun River's First Interstate Bank. Oh, somebody I know. Oh yeah, Aaron. Yeah, I bank there. In February each year and so on, as with my parents, a wedding. My parents married on February 14th. So I just added this little personal note. And then when I wrote about, let me see. Oh, this was a December article about giving because of Christmas and giving and gifts and so on. So again, I mentioned I put myself into it. I often think about how much our Rotary Club does. And as I prepared to write this article, so I kind of jump in there and make it a little more personal rather than just a report. The introduction can be sort of tricky, but I try not to just jump into listing facts. So on May 21st, our community stepped up to help the Sun River La Pine Rotary Club fulfill its model of service above self. So I also try to include, when I can, introduction or later, our credo, what we believe in, our mission. Let's see. Oh, and then the second one, well, learning about what is going on in our community. That's one of the big reasons that I love Rotary over here, is because every Wednesday we hear an interesting talk about something that's going on. We also, and I'm going to do an article about this one of these days, our Rotary here has the school principal, the bank manager, the art fair director, music festival director, chief of police, and more. And so something I was going to try to do with recruiting is, hey, if you really want to know people who do things in this community and what's going on around here, Rotary is the place to be, because you will be so connected with what's going on around here. In this case, you're probably familiar with CASA, the court-appointed special advocates for foster children who are in Oregon. You probably know foster care is a huge problem, and kids are shuttled around between different homes and so on. Anyway, so this was a presentation by the director in Central Oregon. And as I said, I opened up with learning about what's going on in our community is a major benefit of being a member of the Sun River La Pine Rotary Club. So I tried to combine something that might pull people in, as well as kind of a push for recruitment. This is why you should join our Rotary Club. One, if you're going to do, well, because I do one every month, so I have to come up with something new every month. So what I've tried to do is connect them if there's something special about that season, or like baseball is an April tradition. And a few years ago, we did a major upgrade of a La Pine park where the kids could play baseball. We built them a dugout, put sod, did a lot of things. And that's what this article was about, to let the community know what we were doing to help them. February, I tried to pull in, it's the month of love, but for us, it's also brotherly love and so on. And then I wrote about a lot of the things that we do to help others. The final one here, we are entering the season giving gifts. And that was an introduction to gifts that we receive by being Rotary members. The gift of friendship, the gift of service, the gift of opportunities to learn what's going on in the world, and so on. So that's what those were. Oh, and okay, well, this was the rest of that article, so that you could kind of get an idea, because it is sort of a recruitment thing. It occurred to me that the members of our club also receive gifts as a result of our participation in Rotary. And these gifts make our early Wednesday meetings. We try to get together at 7:15 every Wednesday. And service activities worthwhile every week of the year. And then I listed the friendship, connection, knowledge, opportunities to serve, And those I put in the context of those are the gifts that you receive if you are a member of Rotary. So this was recruitment, but I thought in a good way, I thought, because you were showing people what they can get by joining Rotary. If you'll notice, I know when people do PowerPoint, a lot of times they read everything, and I'm not doing that because I figure you can skim down. Is that working for everybody?
Mhm.
Okay, I don't need to read what you can read. Okay. And for example, locally and internationally, again, I'm trying to push that. We did contribute to a money raiser here for Ukraine and lots of other things like that, so that people know, again, no, we don't just get together for breakfast and talk about how we can help each other in business. Way, way, way more than that. Oh, telling a story. Okay, and we had talked about that, and I really liked that last week, Chris, because it's given me some new ideas for some stories that we can write. I can write about. This was really moving. This was written I wrote this in 2021 after Mark Burford, who was a very, very active member of our Rotary Club, had passed away from ALS. Something he had done was to get connected with a children's home in El Salvador, where it's not an orphanage. When they take a child in, they raise the child. It was started by a couple, one from Oregon and a gentleman from Oregon and his wife from El Salvador. And they came up with this idea. In fact, they're going to be speaking at Rotary on September 20th here, and I'm really looking forward to meeting them in person, but I digress a bit. So Mark, before he passed away, he knew he was diagnosed with ALS, and he knew he had it. And he also had heard that the casa, the house in El Salvador, was growing quickly with more children, and they needed a second van. And so he was told, oh, it'll take at least 10 years before you raise money to buy another nice Toyota van for your group. But he got busy, and Rotary was able to pull all this together extremely quickly. I believe he had passed away by the time we bought it, but we came up with enough, and we did buy a new Toyota van, which, as you can see, it's named on the side of the van. It's named the Team 29 Burford Rotary van. And so I wanted to sort of connect this with Christmas. This is a gift thanks to the efforts of Mark Burford and his family. That is a true example of the meaning of Christmas. So that's how I did that.
Can
Excuse
we
me.
take a little breather and let
Sure.
some of our people chime in or ask questions? Lee,
Oh, of course.
this is a fire hose of information. It's awesome, and I don't want to cut you off. I don't know how many more slides you have, but
I'm not sure either. Let's see. Oh, and well, and by the way, I can attach this to an email to anybody who would like to have it.
if you send it to me, I'll make
Yes.
sure I send it out. But
Okay.
does anybody else think we've gotten a ton of good ideas from this?
Definitely.
I can't hear you. Side by side gallery. There I go.
I do. I think this is a great way of looking at it. So yeah, I think this is all good stuff.
Having Lee's background as a writer, everything you've said, Lee, is like, well, yeah, I could be doing that. What are going on in some of your clubs that what do you do wrapped around a certain holiday? Jerry, can you throw something out at us?
Nothing that I can think of, honestly. You know, this just listening to Lee here and watching what she's saying, it's so personable. It's, and I'm kind of familiar with that over in Klamath Falls when I was involved a lot over there many years ago. And it just kind of takes me back the way I used to work with people over there. And having that very, very personable touch like that really touches the hearts of a lot of folks. And
Well,
I
it makes your
appreciate what
existing,
Lee's doing.
it
Yeah.
makes your existing members proud, and it creates interest from the outside world. Sonia, what do you guys do over in Newport wrapped around the holidays or any other? I know you have that event that sees the day event. Anyway,
Yeah.
speak to what articles you could see focusing in on setting the scene.
Well, yeah, Seize the Day is a great one because that's a fundraising event that we do. It's around the 4th of July. It just depends on whatever the Sunday is that's closest to the 4th of July. And so that's a good one to promote. For our Christmas, we always do our holiday party, and that we always tie a fundraiser, or not a fundraiser, but like we'll bring pajamas for the foster kids or something like that. It's always
Right.
something that we do, that we bring gifts that we give away as well. I think that those are really the only two that are coming to mind. One of my things, as I was watching your presentation last year, when I was the president, our newspaper had said we'll run a full page ad for you every week. And I would spend a ton of time putting together these full page ads and send it over, and it got printed once, maybe twice. Yeah, so that was pretty annoying. But as I'm watching what you're doing, you just make it an article. You're not, I know you submit some pictures, but I'm thinking this would be a heck of a lot easier to actually make happen and to just send in. And if you just target once a month, that would also be, because eventually I just gave up and I stopped sending anything in, and it was like, it's not worth the work that I'm doing. But I really appreciate this because it's making me see, okay, there is a way to do this that would be worthwhile.
Well, I want to get back to Leslie and give her a chance to continue on, but I just knew that there were some thoughts percolating. I could tell your guys' little popcorn brains were going. Anybody else want to throw anything else in as an example from your own club or a question for Leslie before she continues? Okay, Leslie, you're back at it. Oh, Joe had his hand up.
Yeah, just very briefly, Leslie, I still have visions in my mind of an event, a big room full of people wearing Hawaiian leis and walking around. And I was just thinking about the Greater Albany Rotary Club's big event, and that it's so easy to write an article and just have facts and figures and numbers and dates and that kind of thing. But personalizing it the way you've done, I thought at first, well, gee, but all those facts and figures are important, but maybe not as important as the mental images of people having fun at a Rotary event, and examples of where the proceeds go to help the community. So I appreciate that perspective, and downplaying the numbers and upplaying visions of crab being cracked and squirting and little cups of melted butter and country music.
Making me hungry.
Yeah. Well, that article was fairly long. I did include thank you to all the sponsors. I included how much we made, but like I said, I wanted to set the scene like you're saying, oh yeah, that stuck with me and that sounds fun. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked for you, and I hope it worked for all my readers. Okay, so what is next? Include quotes. Let others personalize and advertise for you. So this was when we donated to 140 books to first graders at 3 of our local schools these were for little guys. I think they're first graders. I haven't been able to go and participate in this activity. But when I think this was how this was also the introduction. So it was quotes and it was the introduction. Thank you. I love my book. And so I thought that might draw some attention to the article. And then at the very end of the article, I wrote how a little boy had said after he got his book, "This is the best day ever."
Aw.
So yeah, it was very moving. I hope I can go next year. I think I was out of town or something, but so you can include some quotes. I also included quotes from the fundraiser because as it says here, some of the guests attend year after year, but these two ladies are not Rotarians, but they come every year. So, hey, community, you don't have to be a member of Rotary to come and really enjoy yourself and support Rotary. So I actually included her words. I did call, both of these ladies are friends, and I called and I said, can you give me a quote? Would you mind being quoted and named in the newspaper? Oh, no, of course not. And so they both gave me direct quotes that I could put in. I said, love to support Rotary and what they are doing. Rotary has been kind and supportive to the Sun River Stars by giving us a grant to help us provide a free drama camp for local children. So this really hit lots of things. People love to come, they love to support. You don't have to be a member to help us. And we give money to local things such as Sun River Stars is our local, I mentioned it earlier with the Gilligan's Island folks in their costumes. It's our local amateur theater group. That kind of reminds me too, we try to do a lot of connecting with other nonprofits, not just giving them money, but also sort of helping each other, like they did, putting on costumes and coming to the dinner. Those sorts of interactions. And then actually, I think that's how we got a member a couple years ago, Alan Zalewski, who was in charge of this entire event. And we got him by working with his wife with her theater group and then inviting them to a fundraiser, and he joined. So that can work. Robin, who Mark, I mentioned earlier, who passed away 3 years ago and was a supporter of the Casa in El Salvador. Well, his widow friend, Robin, also comes, and I really liked what she said. I trust that my money will be used wisely in the local community. And I thought that was great advertising to the community, that someone, not a Rotarian, could say that she had trust in us. So gave us some good credibility. Oh, and acknowledging your members. Okay, so just quickly, one, that wonderful event we had, I've highlighted these in red so you can see. I included them in the article so that they would get kudos, and they actually thanked me and said that was really great. Thank you so much for giving them acknowledgement. And then the fact that Megan has served, she was really a good president, and she was the executive director of the music festival. She's a very busy woman. And then the third one, oh, that was so fun. Rob Foster had an outing, and we got to visit the local fire station and play with the hose and see the amazing things that they do. I had no idea the complexity of the new fire trucks. It was just amazing. And then that got us in touch with those people, who I'm actually going to talk to the fire chief and see if we can get him to join, because our upcoming, as I said earlier, police chief is now in Rotary, and that's just great. Include recruitment when appropriate. Yes, sneak those in. They can be at the end within the article. Oh, this is a okay, this is a duplicate. Well, I was in a bit of a hurry, and I'm involved in 2 other organizations right now. But anyway, we talked about that, the friendship. This was kind of a recruitment, the gifts we received from Rotary, and then we went over those. Okay. And more recruitment and invitations. yeah, this is an annual event. This was at the end of one of the, well, it had to be the fundraiser. We hope you will consider attending next spring for an evening to both enjoy and help others. The end of a longer, much longer article. Our projects are possible because of donations and participation in the club's fundraisers. Another one. Oh, and then this last one was at the end of the article about how international Rotary is and all the amazing things clubs and the international group itself do. So being a member, you are a part of something much bigger, a highly respected international organization with lofty goals and impressive achievements. If you wish to learn more, and then I put in our website and Rotary International so they could see again all the wonderful things that Rotary does. Oh, I think we're almost at the end. So wrapping it up means writing a little something at the end where you either put a plug in for Rotary or you pull it in from your introduction. For example, Mikasa was able to buy a new Toyota. This is a gift. Don't know if you remember from before because I'm going so fast, but the introduction was about Christmas being time for gifts and how Mark Burford, how we had given this wonderful gift. And so I put this at the end to pull it together, make it good writing. Yeah, a complete circle. And then I had written a whole article about CASA. That's another thing you can actually, if it works for you, you could write articles too about your grant recipients. And in this case, and we do try to invite them to our meetings, the directors of the various organizations to whom we give grants. And in this case with CASA, earlier I had the introduction where the lady from our director from our local CASA came, and at the very end of the article, for more information, becoming a volunteer is a way to express your love for children. So I'm not only recruiting for Rotary, but very worthwhile organizations like this. I help them as well if I can. And that article was also full of quotes by a lady who lives here in Sun River and is very, very active in CASA. So that went off pretty well. I think the last one, details. Oh, yes. They're journalists, publishers, everybody has their format, their ideas about how you should write things. So if you are able to develop a good a relationship with a local publisher, check with them about their format and so on. I got this, for example, when used with a specific date, abbreviate only the following months, blah, 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 who's spelled out, how to write it. Please don't use 2 spaces after a period in your articles. Well, when I first started writing, you put spaces, not periods. You put 2 spaces in between your sentences. Well, I was doing that, and then Susan reminded us, and she did it very nicely. Don't do that because she has to go through and delete every single space, extra space. So that was not good. So, and then another thing about keeping it personal, and I probably don't have to say this, but our editor here is Susan Berger, and just a few weeks ago, her husband was in a terrible motorcycle accident. And so I sent her a note, a card, keeping the relationship a little more personal than just, oh, you're the editor, and so I send you my articles. No, it's much more than that. So I think that's it. It is.
That's awesome. You're building a relationship. You're getting to know your local papers, which is like, how many of us don't reach out and make that relationship? Using the smaller local papers, awesome. Using quotes, God, I keep forgetting about that. How important. When we're talking about how great our club is, it's like, yeah. Can you stop your screen share? I'm gonna reclaim the host, okay, so we can all see each
Where
other.
is it? It should say at the top, stop share, but let's see. New
Well,
share. There we go. There we go.
I
Okay.
reclaimed the host. I took back my power.
Oh, good. That was,
Any comments from the rest of you? I don't think Coach Reese has had a chance to talk, or Merlin.
Well, great information for sure. We have a local paper that comes out weekly, and I think
Ooh.
we can do some things like this. We adopt a family in December for the Boys and Girls Club. We're doing our grant's going to go directly to toiletries to the Boys and Girls Club this year. We have our literacy event for the K-4 children at our local elementary school. So we have a lot of really good things going on, but we don't advertise, and we need to.
And you could probably advertise by virtue of an article.
Right.
Make it informative instead of come to ours, give us your money. I don't know. What do you think, Lee?
yeah, well, that would be my thought. It's hard to measure, of course, how much impact this has. We have increased our membership this year, so to take care of those who are on leave or moved or something. So I do get compliments from the community and from the members about the articles, so they seem to be appreciated. And thank you, whoever mentioned about a booth at the farmers market. I made a note of that. So I'm going to see about where we can put booths around our community to give information about Rotary.
Merlin, how about you? I can see your face. You're just beaming with something.
I'm a member of Springfield Rotary, and we have some great people that are directly involved with this. So, and they've got some creative ideas for this year ahead. But, the things that jumped out at me from this, including photos whenever possible, including quotes whenever possible, and don't be sure to include all the right information, but try to be creative on getting some attention hooks in presenting that, a little bit more creative overlay to present the information. And so I appreciate all of this morning. It's great.
Great. Oh, good. I'm glad we used your time well. It's our most precious possession, isn't it?
It is. What's another one? I'm working on a poll here real quick so we can come up with our upcoming topics. So I need somebody else to say something for a minute. So somebody help me.
Well, I'll jump in on that one.
Thank you.
No, Leslie, thank you very much for everything. And
Welcome.
it's always nice. I mean, sometimes we even forget the big things, which is, and Joe can attest to this, is sometimes just having a relationship with the local newspaper is huge. And then, of course, once you get that, the content becomes important as well. And I think that's very, very important. But I don't think we've even approached, have we, Joe, lately from, Greater Albany? We haven't even really thought about the newspapers. So just reminding us of that additional, that venue, so to speak, or that additional option is huge. That in itself is valuable. And then, once you get that, going from there is even, not then the work just begins. But I have a lot of things to say about how COVID has affected us in pandemic. And there's just so many things that have kind of dropped off in our lives that we forget about. And this is a perfect example of, getting out there and recruiting additional sources of media. And I really appreciate what you've done here with your typeset, and your content was extremely, well done and informative. So yeah, all of us could probably do a better job of what you're all doing. And I'm just thinking of all of those newsletters that need to be put together, and all that help that I need.
Lee, I want to introduce you to the District 5110 website. When you you can become an editor in there. It's just like setting up a profile, put your little picture on it and a little bit about you, and then write, post your articles there, or write some that you think might be of interest to the district. Once you write them on the website, they automatically populate to the district newsletter and to the district Facebook page. So it's like really easy.
One and done.
Okay,
And I can tell you more about that later if you're interested, and I know you are.
yeah, as
I'm
soon
going to
as I,
launch
yeah.
a poll right. I'm going to launch
Oh,
a
I'm
poll
sorry.
right now because we have 3 minutes, and I want you to prioritize these. Can you see them? Can you see the poll? Okay, prioritize those. Those were like left over from what we might do next. So I want some priorities so I can set up our next forums.
Hmm.
Got 5 of you so far. Keep up the good work. Angela, you can vote too.
I sure did.
Oh, good girl. And I didn't vote, so that's probably one's going to be missing. Okay.
And Chris, I need to go to my next meeting.
All
So
right. If you can send me your slideshow, I will include that
I put a
along with
note
the
here.
video.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to share the results so you can find out what we're going to have. Can you see these shared results?
There you go. Yeah. And I'll watch for, let's see, the next meeting, it's the 2nd or the 3rd week of, I can't remember.
Always the third Tuesday
3rd Tuesday.
between 10 and 11, and we're going
Yes,
to be
okay.
talking about onboarding. So this fits right into one of the breakout sessions that we're going to have in October on the 28th. So this will be very timely. Let's trade some onboarding ideas. Anybody want to lead that?
Ooh.
Which means all you have to do is come up with a few thoughts about onboarding. Ooh, Merlin, was that your hand that I saw waving there? Oh, he's going to get shy. In fact, he's going to stay on mute. See how he is.
Would you like me to do that for you, Chris? I need to do it sooner or later.
Well, if you'd like to, I would love it.
Well, of course, but I don't want to, I don't want
I'm happy to do it if nobody steps.
No, I would be more than happy to do it. I was just, what's that old saying is, we don't want to overshadow people that want to be involved. And so
I know.
But I have no problem doing a member orientation onboarding 15
Okay,
minutes.
well, it's 11 o'clock, and so we're going to hear from our new district membership chair, Bruce Allen, next month about onboarding, and you'll be hearing more about it. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.